Perfect. Oops, let me get this right here. Good morning, everybody. Just want to give a little bit of time to let a couple more people get in here, and then we'll get started. But thank you guys for joining us with your early lunch. Here. Well, I'm a fan for starting on time, so I'll just really go ahead and get it rolling. So I just want to start with saying hi, welcome to our second Tech Talk. Today we'll be discussing how property technology can enhance and protect portfolios, specifically here in Savannah, but any of our property managers that tune in or that'll see this afterwards, how these technologies can help your property. Today we're joined with our partners at Brivo. And before I introduce our lovely guest, our awesome partner, Rob, just to give you a little housekeeping about navigating the platform. If you have any questions, if you would like to ask any questions or communicate with myself or Rob, we ask that you just type your questions in the Q&A section. It's in your left-hand corner. This is my left, so I'm assuming your left is on this side. And in the left-hand corner, and if you would like to speak, just you can tap a raise your hand button by your name, and will be acknowledged at the appropriate time. So that's pretty much all it has, not that much going on. So today we have Rob Cadman, who is the Southeast Regional Sales Director with Brivo, and he's going to be talking with you guys about his visitor management platform and just a little bit about Brivo and the solutions that they've been kind of spearheading for PropTech. So Rob, how you doing?
I'm doing very well. How are you today?
Doing pretty good, pretty good. Excited you can join us. We thank you for that. Just want to start off with an icebreaker, just to keep it a little, fun. How long? Well, first question is, how long have you been doing your job?
This job, a little over a year, but I've been with Brivo for coming up on 6 years, and then in the security industry for about to hit 15 years.
Oh, wow. So yeah. You're pretty experienced. No, let's go with experience. We like experience.
I like that better. That's good.
Old is a state of mind. Now, what would you say your favorite thing about the security industry is?
Solving problems. I love when somebody brings me hey, we have this weird, unique problem that nobody has ever faced before. And I get to sit down with our tech team and customers and go through and find a solution that works to not only increase their security, but also their convenience and workflow and everything else. That the problem solving is my favorite part of this industry and the job that I have in it.
No, I think that's definitely great. I think a lot of us can, especially here at SC.com, can agree that helping customers and problem solving is not just like you're just throwing up stuff, you're giving stuff specifically for your clients that they need. And my last one, definitely just throwing it out there. So let me know if you're prepared. What song describes your life right now?
Oh, I'm going to go with an old favorite from Ozzy Osbourne would be Crazy Train, because
Crazy Train.
this whole year has been absolutely, well, the last couple of years have been crazy in a variety of ways, but this year has been just busier than anything I've ever seen. So I'll go with Crazy Train. It's one of my personal favorites, and I think it's pretty accurate on this one.
Okay, well, everybody, guys, after this, go ahead and pull up Spotify or Pandora, whatever you use, and play Crazy Train so you guys can get Rob's vibe that he has going on. But I'm not going to ramble too much. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over to you, Rob.
Okay, well, first of all, wanted to thank you for the invite, and second, for our attendees. Guessing a lot of you are not in the security industry, so you may not have seen the cover of the latest security sales and integration. So you are in the midst of a very well-known dealer with SC.com that I am very, very excited to have been invited to this webinar with. So wanted to talk with you a little bit about Brivo and how it can pertain to your property as a solution. So let me want to first hit on, I always call this our NASCAR slides. It's some of the big name customers that we represent, that we work with. lot of you out there likely know these or have worked for or with a few of these, but Mill Creek, Equity Residential, Merit Properties, big names across the prop tech and also into the commercial real estate side that we work with. We've been doing this a long time, so we have a lot of customers on here. These are just the ones that gave us explicit written permission to use their logos. So some of the benefits for the whole property when it comes to prop tech is just future proofing your property, gives you the ability to customize everything, makes it flexible. And then, of course, to me, most importantly, is adding that layer of security. With the property management, it's you have security, you have convenience, and you have to find that happy medium to make sure that your residents are safe and also they can get in and out and they enjoy getting around the property. So some of the benefits of Brivo, we have a completely 100% seamless scalability. Absolutely no limit to the number of properties, number of doors, number of administrators, number of users, 100% scalable with that. Multi-site or single site, and then it gives you all of the data that we can extract out of Brivo, helps you with actionable insights, and especially with everything that's been going on in the world with COVID, just the ability to go through and get real-time reporting of how many people are using the amenities, the gym, the pool, those kind of areas, and how much flow you have is very important. So with the property, we have a solution that will cover the entire property. Whether it's strictly multifamily or mixed use with the commercial storefronts, bars, restaurants, all of that. We have solutions for all of them. So kind of starting left to right, of course, we have the mobile credentials. Everybody in the world or everybody, at least in this country, is controlling everything on their phone. We have the readers and panels to go with it. Everything that we do is cloud hosted. If you have an area, thinking parking gates, things like that, where it's just hard to get network to, we have cellular options. We see a lot of wireless locks, getting into doors where, the property doors, the unit doors themselves, where you don't necessarily want someone in there running cables and cutting strikes. Of course, we have the video integrations, the ability to tie in identity management, the telephone entry for guest entry, and then of course getting into the actual apartment itself, the ability to do the automation within that unit as well. All right, so the Brivo security platform, a lot of the things I just mentioned are on here. I'm not going to rehash those, but we do pull in that visitor management experience to really help streamline that process, and the identity management to help you really tie together with another authoritative database that will push in all of your residents into Brivo, and then as they move out, we'll pull them out of Brivo as well. So the ability to automate everything and make your security be very convenient and just a part of your overall workflow instead of another thing that you have to worry about.
Now, Rob, is this just for maybe like new construction or new builds, or can this be retrofitted for existing buildings or existing condos and multifamily units?
That's a great question. So we initially saw it on new builds. That they're the ones that had the budget and were already in construction. But those new builds really, it kind of created a keeping up with the Joneses kind of feel, where they're starting to attract all of the higher, rent and, property values and everything else. So then we've seen the second wave has been the retrofit. So we can absolutely do retrofits. The Brivo platform is pretty open architecture. So all of the existing access control cabling and wiring and everything like that, door locking hardware can usually be completely reused. So it makes it a nice seamless transition. So we saw the new construction kind of pulling along the retrofits.
Okay, well, we like that.
Absolutely. All right. So as far as the readers themselves go, we have a few different form factors. They come in both black and white to fit in with your property's motif and look. They can be used in a variety of different ways. You can, of course, pull out your phone and hit a button. But the newest way that you can use Brivo using these specific readers is called Brivo Fluid Access. We have it here still in development. It was released about a month ago, so we just need to update our slides here. But essentially, with Brivo Mobile Pass running on your phone, you're getting out of your car, arms full of groceries coming into your unit. You don't have to pull your phone out and hit a button. You can just leave your phone in your pocket, reach over and touch this little area where you see the Brevo logo on the top has capacitive touch. You touch that, it'll indicate to the reader that someone wants in. That reader through Bluetooth will ping your phone, see who you are, if you're allowed in that door at that time, and then pop that phone open or that door open, all significantly faster than it just took me to explain how it works. To walk up, touch it with your elbow, a couple fingers, forehead, whatever, just as long as that capacitive touch works, and it'll ping your phone to let you in. So a real seamless way of getting in and out.
Okay. And we have 2 questions from our audience. The first one is, I've heard this technology in other brands. What makes your product different or better?
So I will say the thing that makes our product both different and better is the just the length of time we've been doing it. Brevo has been around and in the cloud for 20 years. Most of our competitors that are starting to play in this space were invented or came up with sometime in the last 3, 4, 5 years. We have been doing this for 20 years. We have the architecture and scalability for, just maximized uptime. Brevo standard uptime comes in at about 99.98%, which comes out to about 5 to 10 minutes of downtime per month, generally scheduled out a few weeks in advance, overnight when it'll impact the least amount of people to do, enhancements and things like that to the cloud. So I'll say that just the length of time we've been doing it is really what sets us apart.
Okay, that's good. And then our second question, because this is for our Savannah audience. Savannah is very focused on our aesthetics. Are these products discreet looking and able to blend in with the building design?
So I would say yes, more discreet looking than most. So readers just by nature are not the prettiest things out there. We've made these to be nice and sleek, and again, they come in a couple different color options. That being said, if there are doors that you just have that beautiful motif on where they cannot, you just don't want a reader there, you can absolutely use your mobile pass to get into a door even if there's not a reader there. So you could do a door that maybe the reader was on the inside, or maybe you didn't have a reader at all, but was still wired up and controlled through the Brevo system. Or if you find a reader that looks good and looks great with your motif, we're open architecture, so we'll work with virtually every reader out there that's not proprietary to somebody else. These are just the fluid access ones that we offer.
Okay, yeah, and they do look pretty modern and sleek, so that's pretty much what everybody's going for anyway. So I think Brevo's doing a good job with keeping up even for the aesthetics, but you can keep on going.
Okay, great. So getting into video, video is also an important part of your overall security system. If you don't have video in place, you see on your activity log, Rob Cadman walked through a door. You don't know if it was me or if it was Destiny with my card. So with video, you have the ability to tie together those specific video events with the actual access event. So this would not be on the unit doors for the tenants themselves, because last thing you want to do is tell them that you have a log of every time they've come in and out of their apartment. This would be the common area doors, entrances, amenities, parking gates, things like that. Gives you the ability to tie it together. Aside from just the ability to go back and kind of see all of the previous things that have happened, it also gives you the ability to go through and, while watching live video, pop open a door. So you can, of course, with Brevo, remotely open doors. But maybe you have there's a pipe burst somewhere and you need to let a plumber in after hours and you're not going to be on site. You can just have them call you up, pull up the Brevo app, look at the video and say, okay, yeah, that is the plumber we called, pop that door open, verify that it was them, and then it allows you to tie that video clip and that event back, so you have that full audit trail as well. So talk a little bit more about the holistic experience for your property. Of course, we can do amenities, the guest access, building access, and elevator access. Elevators are one in, especially your higher rise multifamily applications that are often overlooked, but is a very important part of keeping maybe a guest from one floor from being able to go to other floors. So a few different ways you can do elevator access that will kind of fit into your overall workflow. And then, of course, the video in those common areas, the outdoor, the hallway, the lobbies, things like that. Of course, don't forget the parking. It doesn't just have to be the beautiful rooftop deck that shows here. And then you can, like I said, combine those with actually getting into the unit. So in the unit, you can do unit access and unit automation. So of course, you can have your keypad readers on each unit door, where they can be opened or closed via app, via PIN. But then you can also go in and do things like change your thermostat. You can turn on and off your lights. Beyond just the automation and the convenience, we also have the ability to put in things that are going to be very important for you as a property manager. Things like leak detection and water shutoff valves. So that way, whether it's a vacant unit or the tenant is on vacation or out of town, they have a pipe burst. That way, it can automatically shut off, and you don't have to worry about all of the damage it causes below that as well. Destiny, any questions at this point?
Do you have one that just came? Yes, we do have one that just came in, and it's saying, do tenants have access to visitor management, or are they only controlled by the property manager?
So that entirely depends on how we do visitor management. So if you're doing it via the Brevo Smart Apartment, which I'll be showing that demo in the app here in just a moment, each resident can go in, they can pull up their their unit, and I can add as many different guests as I would like, giving them either access to use the app if they're going to be a long-term guest, or just giving them a PIN if I'm just going to have them dog walker or delivery. I can just say, here's your PIN. I can go ahead and assign it out to them. And then that PIN that they assign for their unit, if you decide you want it for your property, can also propagate down to the building access. So if there are places where you want your guests, visitors, delivery people to certain routes you want them to take, certain doors you want them to be able to enter, you can actually just make it where they can only use pins and then put pin pad readers on that path.
Okay, and that actually answered our second question, but we have one more that came in. Can I issue temporary passes to workers? For instance, if a handyman needs access to the unit, I don't want them to have permanent access.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, you can do a start time and a stop time.
Okay, great.
Date and time, that is.
Okay.
So yeah, you can absolutely do that, because last thing you want to do is give out the convenience and then give away the keys to that unit for good if you don't get it back from them. Yeah, you can absolutely put it in as temporary. Or if you forget and don't put it in as temporary, you can go in and delete that at any time. So, let's say you give them a PIN and it's 2459, they remember it, they try to go back in a week and you've already gone in and deleted that, it won't do anything for them.
Yeah, no, that's a lot more convenient than having to, go there and just reset everything, just doing it from your phone or laptop. Even for the guests, the tenants, and the property managers, I know that convenience right there is.
And also a lot more convenient than having to rekey the door.
No, right.
Physical brass key. All right. So let's talk a little bit about technology. So this has been a recent study that was done by Wakefield Research on behalf of one of our technology partners, Schlage Allegion, where 63% of renters said that they would move out of a property due to lack of security, and 61% are likely to rent from an apartment based on their physical access features. So, the security is very important to them, and that's the ultimate goal, that you want to make sure that your tenants are safe. Last thing anyone wants to do is have the tenants of their building really be at risk. But with that technology, you can also add in the convenience. So here, this is, and I'll show you the demo of it, but these are the kind of screenshots of the Brevo Smart Apartment platform. So here on the left is your dashboard as a tenant. This is where I can go through and, check the status on my, units. I can go through lock and unlock doors, change my thermostat. I can go through, on the middle there, I can set scenes. So if I want a scene that, every time I leave for work and get outside of a certain proximity, it'll turn off my lights, turn my thermostat to a certain point. I can set that up. And then there on the right is where you can go through and set up the, guests, or whether it's a permanent guest, a roommate, or whether you're setting up a temporary guest, dog walker, or something like that, can all be done there on the right.
Okay, and I know that you on just a slide before you were talking about 63% of tenants are, would move out if their place, their multi-dwelling unit or their home wasn't secure. Why is security more important than ever for them, for our tenants?
I mean, I think it should have always been important. Personally, I'm a security guy, but I think just with the propagation of multifamily, I mean, they are more and more multifamily units around every single city that I ever visit than there were 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Really putting myself in the shoes of a criminal. If I was a criminal, would I try a single family home where I can rob one people's stuff? Or would I try to get into multifamily where I had access to, a piggy bank full of people's, different units? So just, I mean, I think it should have always been important, but I mean that was just a recent study that was done asking about it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So yeah, this is again just a little view of the automation platform. Again, we have the dashboard showing there. As far as what's actually installed, though, this unit in the background that says Brebo with the blue logo is what we call a gateway. So that gateway would go in each unit. It would be installed, coat closet somewhere fairly centrally located and easy to get to, but out of the way. And then that is a Z-Wave hub that creates a Z-Wave network. So they could put on lights, locks, thermostats, again, the moisture detection. If they're garden style apartments or condos that use it, if they have garage door openers, things like that, just a variety of different Z-Wave type devices. We do, have some specific ones that we work with, but Z-Wave is pretty open. So, if there's already a bunch of Z-Wave devices out there across a property on another platform, let us know. We can do some digging into it, ensure that they're compatible. Z-Wave has a thing called the Z-Wave Alliance where they should all be compatible, but we all know how that goes. It's we can do some testing to make it better safe than sorry. Other thing to mention is that we do work with Alexa as well. So everyone loves the convenience of being able to tell Alexa to do things. You can do all of those voice commands with this as far as, locking doors, setting scenes, and all of that. All right, so moving on, next important thing will be, and this is something we actually got a lot of requests for pre-COVID, but then has really, really ramped up during COVID. Self-guided tours. The ability to not have you as a property manager have to be there with each person as they go through. So if you want to do self-guided tours, my best recommendation is doing the same that I mentioned with if there's a certain path that you want your visitors or delivery people to take, is put pin pads along that, and then you can give that person a pin. So I'm coming to visit one of your properties and I want to see unit 1, 2, 3. I want to see the pool, I want to see the gym, and I want to see the laundry facility, or the bike locker or dog washing area or whatever it may be. Any of those amenity center areas you can put a pin pad on. Of course, all of your residents can still use their phone to get in. You can still use a card or a fob, but it gives you the ability to really give out that pin at a moment's notice to somebody that wants to come tour the property. That pin will work on the common area that you want them to go to, as well as the unit. And then once their time frame is up, or once they've texted or called you and said, "Hey, I've seen the unit," you can go through and instantly revoke that.
Yeah, that's great to know that they can do that, especially now with everybody, changing like where they're living. They're not just zip codes, but just changing where they're living, moving from different apartments to different houses, and being able, when you have like for property management, you have influx of requests coming in, and you don't want to you can't really get all of them at one time, but being able to send them a pin so that they can go tour it themselves, and you keep track of that is really cool.
It also helps a lot for being able to accommodate others' schedules, because I mean, property managers, while your tenants may think you're available 24/7, 365, you're not. So that way, if somebody, let's say I work the overnight shift at a hospital and I need a place to live, and I'm like, hey, or can I come see the unit at 11 p.m.? You can be there, more power to you. If you want to be there, I'm guessing you don't want to be there. So that way you can set up for the self-guided tours. And I mean, not just, apartments and multifamily are starting to go this way. I actually saw this last night driving home back to my house from the airport. There's a big sign here in Atlanta with a CarMax logo on it, and they are now doing 24/7 test drives. So you can
Wow.
get in through a code and do a test drive 24/7. So with technology, more and more companies are trying to really give that convenience and flexibility to play on your customer or your tenant's terms instead of having the rigid banker's hours where they have to figure out when they're going to take time off to come do it. You can really help accommodate their schedules as well with the self-guided tour.
Yeah, that flexibility is definitely appreciated. I don't have any questions, so we're still good to keep rolling.
All right. We're coming up on the end here, but just kind of a snapshot of some of the things that you can put in the unit. Of course, the unit door locks are going to be the most important. That's what keeps that unit safe. Lights, they can be, toggle switches, dimmers, fan control, any of that. Thermostats, door and window sensors. Two most important to me because I'm a security guy, and this, while isn't security, is preparedness, are water sensors and water shutoff. That way you don't have to worry about having that expensive issue. And also, a lot of times, if you have these type of things in there to, I guess, avoid the disaster before it happens, there's usually a lot of insurance breaks around this. I don't have any exact stats on it, but we've talked to different properties that have said that they've been able to get a reduction in their rates. All right, so this is just a kind of a screenshot. Again, I'll be hopping into this portal to show you a little bit about what it looks like, but it gives you the ability to handle and control either individual units, all units that are property, or all units across your entire portfolio. Also the ability to go through and control all unoccupied units. So if you want to go through and make sure that every unoccupied unit is locked, every unoccupied unit has the air conditioner running at, let's say 80 degrees. Last thing you want is a tenant to move out in July and turn their HVAC completely off. Nobody checks it for a week or two, and then you come into an apartment that in Savannah, I'm guessing, at least has the early stages of mold. The heat and humidity are not good for apartments. So that way you can make sure that everything is running smoothly and control all of those units and do it all from a macro level instead of having to go in and have a list of your unoccupied units and go unit by unit. And then the what's in it for owners. So I'll say I'm probably not the best verse at speaking to this. You all probably know this better than I do, but putting in the property technology gives you the ability to charge more for your rent. That more for your rent, of course, comes into more income, which also raises the overall value of your property pretty significantly. So, you can do the math for yourself based on, how many units and what you're getting, but this is the main driver and the reason that we're seeing new construction and then again all the retrofit that's kind of being pulled along going to property management is it's not just a convenience feature, it's not just for the tenant, but it's a good way to spend some upfront money to increase the overall value of the property itself.
Now, what role will property technology play in the long run or in the future for multifamily or just commercial real estate in general?
I would say in the future, I think the role it will play is it being required. I don't see many, if any, big properties being built that don't have some level of prop tech in them. It's just a matter of the convenience and the amenities that you want to offer out.
Okay, and will any of these help with tenant retention or help with bringing new ones?
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, first of all, the 24-hour touring is definitely going to help with increasing getting tenants on board because you're increasing the number of people that can come see it. There's a few multifamily buildings that have just been popped up here in my neighborhood that have all the and luckily they're on Brevo, so I can brag on them, but they have all the the 24-hour touring and all that. Call this number to see it, and they have the little kind of real estate signs stuck out by their visitor parking lots, and very often I'll see somebody pulled into one of those on their phone. My assumption is they're calling in to see if they can come in and tour the facility, and who doesn't love the ability to tour it on their own, just with their phone instead of having to be with another person. So
Yeah.
I think that will definitely, lead to it. But then you also have people that just want that convenience, that they don't want to, have to carry another key. They don't want to have to come home to turn on their lights and, turn their thermostat down after a vacation. So if it's between two different properties and one of them has all the convenience and the other one does not, they're likely going to choose the one that has the convenience.
Right.
All other factors being equal.
Okay, I think that was the last one we had right there.
Okay, well, that is the end of the ever fun PowerPoint slide. So now I want to get into the demo of it. So quick check. Can you see my screen right now?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. I love when technology works.
No, right?
All right. So right now, the view I'm in is the portfolio owner. So I see, and these are all demo units, so I can play around with them. I'm not actually affecting people. But I see 7 different properties. Each one of these I can drill into. So for a property manager that's just on a single site, they can get their view would look a little more like this. So anything that has a person there and a name is an occupied unit. Looks like I live in 1F. I wasn't sure which one I put myself into, but and then all these other ones are unoccupied. So right now, aside from kind of being creepy with 3 people living in a 50-unit place, it would also just be a giant pain on you as a property manager to go into each unit and go through and make sure the door was locked and go through. We don't have HVAC on these, but make sure everything was set. To do those all individually would be a giant pain. So you can just come back here and manage all your vacant units and say, okay, I want to lock all doors. I want to turn all lights, on or off, or if there's dimmers, I want to turn them to 50%. And then I want to set my thermostats to, whatever my high or low is, or just turn my fan on and turn, everything else off. So it gives you the ability to set everything on a macro level. So any change I make here would affect every one of these units. Then once someone moves in, you can of course go in and you can change that. So I can go in here, lock this door as the administrator. But the main point of this is once they're in there, this gives all of these permissions off to them for their unit. So they can go through and they can add users. They can go through and they can add visitors. They can go through and see all of their logs and create different scenes. Several of our Brevo Smart Apartment colleagues will create scenes because they have this all installed in their homes for movie nights and everything else, where their lights dim to 30%, their door locks at whatever they want to happen. So you can set all of those scenes with exactly what you want all of your different Z-Wave devices to be. And then you can go through and set all of your rules here as well. So, when I get home, or, when I leave away, and this is my scene, away, what do I want to happen? And so it's an if then. So I can go through and, if this happens, then I want this to happen. So
and they can control that themselves. Like the tenant can control that once they get access to it, right?
Absolutely, because you'd be hard pressed to find 5 tenants that want everything the same way, much less all of your tenants. So this gives them the ability to set it for exactly how they want it for their lifestyle and everything else. And then of course there is a all the reporting around it as well. So a tenant calls you up and says, "Hey, I got cash missing. Who is in my unit?" You can go through and say, "Okay, it looks like nobody has been in your unit for the last month. So go check your pockets." Or you could say, "Okay, yeah, looks like we had a delivery person that you gave access to that went in there at this time," or whatever the case may be, gives you that full audit trail just in the event anything happens. And then each tenant will actually have their audit trail on theirs as well. So it gives that, again, just the overall cohesive feel to it. And then all of this ties into the Brevo access portion, which is going to be your base building, your perimeter doors, your amenities, parking, all of that kind of stuff, which just for sake of time and not boring everybody, I'm not going to dive deep into that. We'll stay on the property management side.
Okay, great. Now, if anybody wants to dive a little deeper, I'm pretty sure we'll be happy to have Rob set up a call with Rob to even
what I love to do
a little further.
Yeah. So have any other questions come in on that?
I haven't had any. Hold on, I think we have one just coming up. So how will these solutions specifically help our Savannah industry, our Savannah community?
It would make your communities safer and more convenient for your customers, which both of those things together will lead to increases in tenant retention, number of tenants that want to move into the building, which both of those, as we know, directly tie into overall cost of rent going up. So I mean, over time, as you increase your prop tech, your building becomes a more desirable building, which I mean, for the community, that makes everything around it more desirable as well.
Right. And just piggybacking off of that, living here in Savannah, the multi-dwelling unit, multifamilies, all the condos, we're like throwing them up left and right, which is great. But with that increase, it just makes more sense, especially in the downtown area, to have this type of, give the property managers this type of control, because you're managing more with less resources yourself, so you don't need as much. But it's definitely going to be a big thing, and it's definitely going to be a big thing for that.
And then the other thing is we, of course, have support as well on the Brevo Smart Apartment side. We actually have 24/7 support. So, not that you'll need it often, but you run into an issue and a tenant's calling you up and saying, hey, this isn't working. If it is an emergency that you need to make a phone call for, we will be there to help you out. Should not happen very often. The gateway itself that actually goes in the unit will work on hardwired internet. It'll work on Wi-Fi. We know both of those things are great when someone lives there, but likely not paying for internet and Wi-Fi while they're out. It'll also work on, there's a 4G LTE Verizon SIM card in it as well. You can leave it on the Verizon side the entire time. We don't generally recommend it just because on the cellular, there's a second or two latency when you go to unlock a door. And depending on how big of a hurry you're in and what you have in your arms, a second or two might feel like an hour. So if you do it on broadband, high-speed internet, it'll be much, much quicker.
Okay. And I have one more question, just out of curiosity. What is the range of the touchpad access panels? Like, if my phone is near the front door, can someone touch the panel and still gain access?
So for the fluid access that I showed, it has so Bluetooth itself has about 30-foot range. 30 feet on that would have been just a disaster. I mean, it would have gotten people that had nothing to do with it. It would have been awful. So for that, we actually went down and paired it to about a 4-foot range, which is about the average length of across your arm with your phone in the other pocket. So it's about a 4-foot range, but dialing that range down enough to, again, just be able to keep the, hit the people right around it. Inevitably, unfortunately, gives a little bit of an issue if somebody walks up with their phone in their backpack. Your body actually acts as a pretty good shield for Bluetooth, so they would have to, if they were, phone in the backpack or work bag, they would have to kind of turn it facing so their body wasn't in the way to touch it. But it's really meant to be able to keep it in your hand or your front pocket as you're walking in to touch it.
Okay, well, that's good. I hope that answers your question. But no, I really do appreciate you taking the time to help us present, because, especially for our community with SCAD and the big tourist draw that we have here, we have a massive rise in property management because, like, the apartments that we have, vacation rentals. So all of this technology, this prop tech, is going to come in handy, I think, more sooner than later. Like you said, I agree that eventually it's going to just become required because, your tenants are going to be expecting more. If another place is offering it, getting ahead of the curve by offering it as well gives you a type of competitive advantage.
And not to date myself, but this is also, I mean, to me, similar to, units or, multifamily dwelling, properties and everything like that, putting in internet. Like at one point, only the high-end ones did it. Now, I mean, I don't think there's probably an apartment in the country that doesn't have internet run to it. So I mean,
Yeah,
this
I
is
can
going to be the
imagine.
new, yeah, this will be the new standard.
Well, we like being at the forefront of new standards. So thank you for like sharing this so that way we can share with the people that are on the call with us right now or on the video, and then we'll share it out later. But do you have anything else for us?
Well, I mean, I can and do talk about Brevo all day, every day, and I love doing it. So I'll say, want to do a deeper dive, talk about your property specifically or anything like that, feel free to reach out to me directly or reach out to SC Datacom. We'll get looped in and we will, go through, do all the assessments and everything else to get you kind of an idea of what it would be looking at to upgrade your property.
All right, perfect. Thank you. Well, thank you guys all for joining us. We look forward to you guys joining us in August for our next partner. So just be on the lookout for our social media to see who that is. And if any of this information interested you and you want just a copy of this right here, just so you can share it with your team or watch it later, or any more information about Brevo, feel free to reach out to the team here at SC Datacom. But other than that, everybody enjoy the rest of your day.